You guys, I'm a guest here on Corona Free PE Hawaiian Week, and we're going to be doing some Hawaiian Traeger ribs. First things first, we had to buy the ribs. If you look online, sorry, my camera work is not nearly as good as Marissa. You'll find people will suggest spare ribs, St. Louis ribs, and baby back ribs. I went with my dad's suggestion on baby back ribs, but Uncle Bruce supplied the link, which is what we're going to be using for the recipe today, which started with a rub recipe, which includes onion powder, black pepper, garlic salt, fine sea salt, chili powder, paprika. And so you start with a base of pepper and 1 part pepper, or 2 parts pepper, 1 part salt, and then dashes and splashes of everything else, not going too heavy on the chili powder. And then I'm about to pull these guys out. All right, so here we have our ribs on a freshly restored cutting board that I pulled out of the garage. We don't do a lot of meat in our house. Many of you already know Marissa's a vegetarian, so we're actually borrowing our neighbor's Traeger down the street. Shout out to Colin Clancy. And so yeah, these are baby back ribs, and what they did for me at Zanotto's when I bought them was they pulled the membrane off right here. The thing that I did learn in some short research online was that baby back ribs are apparently a leaner cut versus a short rib, which has apparently got a little more fat, which obviously tastes good as well. And then they suggest doing some trimming on the ends if there's excess, but to be honest, given that I don't really know what I'm doing, or I haven't done this before, I don't see a lot of excess on either side. So all of those ingredients I just showed you, they suggest putting it in a shaker to evenly distribute all of the spices in there, the salt and pepper, everything else, and it should be even like that, right? And then you want to put it on evenly, and a rub is called a rub for a reason, so that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on and then rub it in, try to do that evenly here. Okay, we have got these guys on the grill, and we're doing them in a 3-2-1 format, which is 3 hours at about 185, and then you go up from there. We start them off naked with no tin foil, and then we're going to sauce them and tin foil them, but you can see the rub on there in this handy dandy Traeger. So we'll see you in the next round. Okay, so we are going to do homemade barbecue sauce, because why would I want to buy it in a bottle when I can figure out how to make it? So we're going to be using Uncle Mighty Bruce's recipe that he sent to me, written down on a piece of paper, and he took a picture of it and sent it all the way from Hawaii to me. This is heavy ketchup based. We're using Sir Kensington's ketchup there. 1.5 cups, 1/2 an onion. In the middle there, you're seeing pepper, salt, 1-to-1, a little bit of chili powder, a little bit of garlic powder. Over here, we've got 1/2 cup of lemon juice, 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, and some brown sugar. It called for some, I added more than some, and a 1/2 stick of butter. So a lot of halves, pretty easy to remember. And we're gonna do this in a saucepan. So hold on for that. So we're gonna do onions and butter. This was not part of the directions. I am totally making this up as I go. Keeping my pan heat, this is a big burner, keeping the pan heat on lower for this burner. But I'm just gonna coat the bottom of the pan first, and then I'm gonna take that ketchup base over here, and I'm just gonna pour it in and hope that I can get most of it out. And then, now that I've added cooler ingredients, I'm going to spoon this out, heat it up, and bring this up to a higher heat a little bit. and stir it around. So after I get the rest of that out of there with the spatula, we'll come back when we're warmed up. Here we have all of the ingredients together, and I'm bringing it up just to a bubble so that all the good chemistry happens with all of those things getting together, because they are going to go onto the ribs. Little preview here, we have some apple cider vinegar in a spray bottle so that when you want to spray that on the ribs or in the sauce, you can do that. All right, guys, so we are getting ready to sauce our ribs. Here they are. And that color's looking really good. They've been in there actually at about 230 according to the side, although the temp gauge says a little over 200 for about 2.5 hours. So we're gonna take them out with towels so we don't break them up. And we're gonna put some honey and some sugar, brown sugar on there. There's the spray bottle I was showing you earlier. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, and we just occasionally come in here and just spray them. They get a little sizzle there. Gets them ready. And then I'm gonna pull them out with the towels, put them on here, and sauce them up, and we'll be ready to go. If you can see that, those juices are locking in there. We're gonna take this side right here, and we're just gonna sprinkle some brown sugar on it, rub that in as I go around. It's okay if it gets on the tin foil, because we're gonna wrap that goodness in there on this side. So we're gonna get some more of that. Don't be shy with the brown sugar. And I did take them out with a towel so that it doesn't break them up. So I'm gonna use that same towel. Flip this guy over to the meatless side, and then we're going to take our honey, just put some honey on this underside. Now I'm going to do this now, there, and then we're going to sauce them in just a second. Barbecue sauce here, we're just going to be generous with that. I'm going to go over here. Then I'm going to flip them, sauce them, and we'll tent them in just a sec. All right, we've got all three of these guys in their tin foil blankies, and on one side honey, on the other side brown sugar, and then we put sauce over that. So they've been sauced, sugared, and they're going to rest for a little while longer. We're going to bump that heat up a little bit, and we'll come back shortly. Hi, so we have our ribs here. These are baby back ribs, and they were in for 6 hours from end to end, not counting the time we took them out to sauce them. And they are really, really tender, as you can see. If I'm bending it, like if they're stiff, these might be slightly overcooked, but that's okay. They will fall off the bone. And Tim is cutting up the one that was just done with honey and brown sugar. These were sauced part of the way through. All of them had rubs on them, and I'm looking forward to eating them. So these are our Hawaiian meal week ribs. Thank you, Uncle Bruce and Dad, for the combined recipe and cooking strategies. Thanks, Tim, for cutting up the meat. Yay! Oh, serving the ribs. Yeah, those are falling off the bone. Ooh.
Chris, I can't even pick them up by the bone.